What was their secret? Their All-American quarterback, their electrifying running backs, or some guy who rode the bench named Owen Hanson?
Matt Leinart, Pete Carroll, Reggie Bush, you got some bling from there. What did you most learn, would you say, about yourself and playing on those teams?
You know, what I most learned was, at the sporting level, you can do anything you put your mind to if you're an athlete. I walked onto the football team never playing the sport, but as an athlete, I was obviously pretty darn good with a 36-inch vertical jump and
that'll help.
a 4.640 and bench press 225 26 times. So I played for a dynasty. Pete Carroll's, goes down in history for USC.
Cocaine quarterback, is that an image that you're embracing based on, hey, this is where I was, and helping others kind of learn about the pitfalls, or does that bother you?
No, it doesn't bother me at all. You accept responsibility for what you've done. I broke the law and I deserve to go to prison, but I can help people learn from my mistakes, and that's kind of what I'm doing now. If it's me talking to kids at the Pop Warner level, or to college students or college athletes, to hopefully one day professional athletes, letting them know that, listen, I've been in this situation and it can happen to anyone. It doesn't matter who you are.
You became an entrepreneur in prison. Tell me a little bit about how you made this protein ice cream.
Yeah, so after getting my master's degree in business administration, I said, okay, now what am I going to do? I'm in prison. I'm supposed to be in prison the next, 15 years, and I'm like, okay, I gotta do something in here. I'm going crazy. I've always had this hustler mentality, and I remember it happened on accident. I make these protein shakes, and I put them in a peanut butter jar. I put a little non-fat milk from the kitchen that we get these bags of milk in prison, and then every Monday and Wednesday we get bananas. Commissary allows you to buy 7 protein shakes a week, 1 for each day, and a tub of peanut butter. In prison, we don't have refrigeration, so we have to get creative. So we would have these mop buckets that we have, the same mop buckets we use to clean the floors. And we put plastic bags in there, and we put ice in there. And I remember one day, my cellie said, hey, the ice machine broke. I'm like, oh man, what are we gonna do now? I need to have my cold protein shake, right? He's like, don't worry. He says, we'll throw a little salt on there, and the salt will keep it cold while you're gone for your workout. I was like, all right, so we put our salt and we dumped it in there, and we had like this much ice, and I had 1 protein shake in there. And I came back from my workout with my crew, and I grabbed my protein shake to drink it, and it's rock hard. And I tell my cellie, I'm like, man, what the heck, man? You said it would be cold. He's like, just get a spoon and eat it. And I started to eat it. I'm like, holy smokes, this is like protein ice cream, right? My entrepreneur mindset clicked in. I was like, I think we're onto something. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, we don't have ice cream in prison. Imagine if I sold ice cream to all these people that work out. I said, let's sell it for $15 a peanut butter jar. He's like, you're never gonna get that. Sure enough, the next week I had 7 ice cream jars in my mop bucket, and
Wow.
I pre-sold them, right? And then by the time Super Bowl came around, I had 50 pre-orders. I get released in 2024, and I go to the halfway house. And one of my friends, my old gambling clients, calls me, and he says, what are you doing? I said, I don't know what I'm doing. I said, I'm a convicted felon. I'm living in the halfway house. He says, well, what do you like to do? I said, man, I'm going to tell you a story, and I actually find this pretty amusing, but I started making protein ice cream in prison. I was making these peanut butter jars, and they had like 40 grams of protein. I said, I think I'm onto something. He goes, well, why don't we create this brand and tell your story? I said, man, I think that's what I'll do. And I found a big ice cream manufacturer, and I said, read my story. I said, if I paid back the cartel $4 million, you don't have to worry. I'm going to pay you back everything you put into this, and I'm going to make you money. We're now in over 100 stores. We're in gyms and nutrition stores, and we sell direct to consumer online.
Congratulations,
Thank
that's
you.
awesome. I know you're doing a lot of good out there, and you're giving back. For example, you just went and talked to the USC men's basketball team. You're into gambling prevention. What's your message to them?
My message is like, okay, I want to go speak to college students because I've been there. I was a college athlete. My experience working with bookies and organized crime, and eventually going to prison for 10 years, it's like, you don't want to go down that path.
Right.
And I remember I spoke to USC men's basketball last week, and I had all 15 guys on the team focused in after practice. Their jaws were on the floor. The coaches were giving me a standing ovation. They're like, this was the most powerful message in 20 years from the NBA to college basketball that I've ever experienced. He says, Owen, well done. And he goes, you need to get your message out to everybody in the sporting world.
You went to the Boyle Heights Wolfpack youth football team, starting young, basically. And you're going to be sponsoring this youth football team too, right? Why did you decide to do that?
I said, you know what, these guys believed in me from day one. 3 days after I got out of prison, they let me speak to the organization. They were part of the documentary with Mark Wahlberg and Cocaine Quarterback. And I came back and I said, you guys took a chance with me and gave me a second chance, right? I said, it's my turn to return the favor. And I sponsored the Wolfpack Boyle Heights football team, the whole organization.
They're your day ones from when you got out of prison, huh?
They're my day one, yeah, no doubt.
That's really cool. As you look at the legacy of your life, what do you hope kind of defines you from here going forward?
A redemption story, right? The comeback kid. I've always been that underdog. And I think everyone's going to see that I've made that change. I went from, I broke the law, like I said, to now turning around and helping others learn from my mistakes. And that's what I want to get out there. I believe in this second chance and this redemption story of Owen Hanson.